it's your girl from Philly. Welcome to another episode of Handcrafted Wine, where we make great wine from home the fun and easy way. Before we get started, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any episodes. In today's episode, we're going to be making Rose Petal Wine. Now, I know that sounds a little different, but actually, delicate wines made from flowers such as lavender and roses have been made for centuries. In today's recipe, we're going to be using 8 ounces of washed rose petals, 1/2 cup of golden raisins, 2 vanilla bean stalks split in half, 1 green tea bag, and this green tea bag is going to replace our tannin, so we won't be using tannin today. I have available 3.5 cups of white sugar. I'm not sure exactly how much I'll use, but just in case we need this much, I have it in reserve. And the zest of 1 lemon. Okay, let's get started. The very first thing I want to do is dissolve 2.5 cups of our 3.5 cups of sugar in our fermenter. I'm very certain we'll be using at least 2.5 cups, but I have that 1 cup left on reserve just in case we'll need it. So we have 2.5 cups of sugar in our fermenter. Ooh, I'm going to tip fermenter a little bit. My kettle was kind of full today. All right, that's enough to dissolve it. Let's get my long stir. Now, if you're curious as to what a floral wine would taste like, I actually just made a butterfly pea flower with lemon wine just the other day. And they taste like wine. They definitely have a floral quality to them, but it's not perfumey as you would think. Oftentimes, flowers take on the quality of fruits. For instance, butterfly pea flower is very fruity tasting inside of it, the wine. And even though roses seem like a very perfumey flower, they actually give off a slight fruity scent to them when they're made into a wine. Okay, so I think our sugar is completely dissolved. We have a few more crystals. I'll keep stirring. So that's perfect. And I have 1 new straining bag that has been washed, but of course I'm going to blitz it with some Star San, just for good measure. Add it to our fermenter. And the very first thing I'm going to add is our vanilla bean. Now I split them in half, but I didn't, I split them down the middle, but I didn't scrape out the little seeds, the little beans. They're actually going to release over time as the wine ferments. We'll put those in there. And now I'll add our lemon zest. And as you know, our lemon zest is without the pith. Oops. And now I'll add our golden raisins. And I'm going to give all of this a little bit more hot water as well. Whenever we use any type of spice, and vanilla is a spice, we always want to treat it with some hot water. Okay. Now I'm going to move our usual players out of the way and bring my rose petals here. And to make it easier to put them in, I'm just going to use my hands and put them in bunches. This one can go to the side. Now I also have in reserve the same amount of rose petals in case we need more of a rose scent or flavor in secondary. I can add them. Those are going to go into the freezer. Whenever you buy any type of fresh flower for wine, you just, oop, I dropped a petal. You just want to make sure that it is food safe, that no pesticides have been used on it. So if you buy it from a produce store, more than likely it is going to be food safe. And I was actually looking for all pink petals, but they didn't have pink petals. They had the array of so many different colors. So I'm curious to see what shade our wine is going to turn out to be. But either way, I know it's definitely going to be a light shade. Petals give off some color, but not a lot of color. This is getting full. Now, because they're flower petals, they're going to actually wilt inside of the fermenter, and there'll be a lot more room left in this fermenter when they're done. The other thing I didn't mention is I crushed a Campden tablet and rinsed this in a solution of Campden tablets in water. Oh, look how bright that is. That's so pretty. These colors are amazing. Of course, we're not going to get this much color in our wine. More than anything, we'll probably get a light rose color. This is a leaf. We don't want that in there. I didn't see that when I was cleaning and separating them. Okay, so we have all of our petals inside of our fermenter. Ooh, this is really hot. Oh, the one thing I didn't add was the tea, but it doesn't have to get hot. But I am going to add a little water to just where it is. A little hot water. Yep, that did it. And the petals are actually wilting right now. So we don't want any more hot water, just because we want to make sure that we're able to add our yeast today. So as much as it seems like there's a lot of volume here, it won't be very soon. I would give it about a week and they'll start to smash down in on themselves. I'm going to add our water. And there's actually no bulk whatsoever in these flower petals, so we don't have to worry about a blowover. I can actually make this pretty full. I'm going to stop there because I forgot about the last bit of sugar that we might have to use. So, all right, that's enough room. I'm going to mix the petals into the sugar water. And the reason why I use green tea instead of black tea or tannin this time is because either would have taken over any type of coloration the flower petals would have been able to make. Oh, this is so pretty. Can you see the vanilla bean in there floating? It's really gorgeous. It looks like a potpourri bowl. That's pretty. So I'm going to take a gravity reading before we put our usual players in, just to see if we need to add the rest of the sugar. We may have to. When I made butterfly pea flour, because there's so little sugars in the substrate, I ended up having to use 3.5 cups of sugar. So I kind of think that's going to happen here, but we'll see. Right now, the liquid is just pure sugar water, but that will change. I don't know if I ever mentioned, yeah, I think I did mention that I once made sugar water wine, but I used a fast acting high alcohol yeast. Oh my God, that was a nightmare. It was strong, but it was not delicious. Okay, so we're at 250 milliliters. I think I'm going to eventually invest in a clear cylinder so that you'll be able to see exactly what I'm seeing. And we're going to spray our hydrometer with a little star sand. And yes, we're going to have to add that last cup of sugar. It's still in the beer category. I won't even bother reading the number. I know it's not right. I'm going to leave this amount out. Well, no, I have to add it back in so I can do the math. But I think this might have been a little too much water. We'll see. And ultimately, if you did want to use just the flowers as your flavoring, you could add lots of lemon juice. You could add apple juice. You could add white grape juice. I really wanted to get the quality of the roses in this wine. So I didn't want it to get I didn't want to add a lot of things that would mask the taste of the roses. And this is a super delicate wine. This isn't meant to be paired with food. Maybe like very light desserts like petits or sponge cakes, very light things. But anything heavy would completely overpower the taste of the roses. It's dissolving, but it's kind of moving slowly because this is not very hot any longer. We're almost there though. And I didn't introduce my usual players, but I'm going to be I'm using Premier Cuvee today. Yeah, that's right. Okay, it's completely dissolved and the spoon is completely entangled in the string. There we go. Yeah. I can smell the vanilla. Vanilla will be the one scent and probably flavor that comes through as strong as the rose, but I'm okay with that. That's also delicate. Okay. Let's try to take another reading. And this will be our last reading, I'm sure. I'm guessing the color is going to be like a golden pink, just because we have a lot of yellow flowers, a lot of white flowers, some red flowers, a lot of dark pink, and some medium pink. It looks like the predominant colors are yellow and medium pink. Something else you can use with your flowers is instead of using sugar as your base sweetener, you can use honey and make a methylene. I think when you make mead with herbs and flowers, it's a methylene. I haven't done it yet, but I'd like to try that. But even with that, I think the honey would probably overtake the taste of the roses as well. I think the roses would become just a back player in that case. So we're at a really good gravity level. We've passed the red section, which we know all of the red section is wine. We are at the top of the blue section. Now let me read this. I didn't put my phone aside so I could check brewersfriend.com, but I will check later just to make sure that my rating is correct. It's at the top of the blue section, and the reading is 1.100. And let's get to the percentage. At 1.100, our percentage should be a strong 13.5% or 13.3%. So I'm fine with that. And I will, in my description, I will check on brewersfriend.com and just verify that that's correct for us. All right, now we can add our oops, we got to put this back in. Now we can add our usual players. And I'm curious to see how the yeast responds to basically sugar water right now. So we're going to be adding pectic enzyme. The purpose of the pectic enzyme, it must be very humid in this house right now because everything is sticking to the little jars. The pectic enzyme is going to help draw some of that color from the petals, the rose petals, as well as extract some flavor from the vanilla and the lemon rind. The next thing is going to be our acid blend. Even though we have the lemon rind, we don't have any lemon juice in here, so we definitely need acid blend. So we have a balance. The next thing is our dynamic duo, which is our yeast nutrient and our yeast energizer. I'm all out of yeast energizer, so in my next video, I'm probably going to be making some by boiling some bread yeast, letting it cool, and I'll have that in my next episode. So I'm breaking up the duo for a little bit. Let me use a long spoon. I'm seeing some chunks of my nutrients, so I just want to stir them until they dissolve some. They'll break down. The hardest one to break down is tannin, but I don't worry so much about the other nutrients. They'll be broken down in an hour or so, even if they don't break down during the original batch creation. I will be making a mead soon too, but the main ingredient is a surprise. All right, I see something or other swirling at the bottom, but I'm not too concerned about it because none of it's tannin, so it's not a big deal. And now we're going to add our yeast. This yeast ferments from 13 to 15%, which means it'll be a nice alcohol volume if it ferments to its potential of dry, but not too strong. Everything about this wine should be delicate. That wasn't the brightest thing because now it's sticking to the top of my spoon. Come on, you can't do any good here on the spoon. All right, I got it all off. Most of it off. Okay. And I'm going to stir the yeast from the corners. And right now, I can't say I'm getting great hydration. It's getting wet, but I don't see the yeast breaking up really quickly. It will. But this, probably because it's not like a lot of acid to this batch and it's not a whole lot of actual fruit. So it's going to love its environment, but it's not going to be Madly in love. What's cool is you get a chance to see everything, like those jelly cakes. So you can see the entire batch because everything is clear right now. I'm going to push our vanilla back down. It's going to do more good submerged and not at the top. All right, that was a quick wine. And with spring coming, this type of wine could be drank early. It doesn't need a lot of aging. It's probably going to be better when it's young. So anytime between 3 and 6 months, which would be late spring, early summer, more early summer, this would probably be drinkable. Yep, that's interesting. So we're going to add our drilled top with a grommet. And where's our airlock? Here's our airlock. We're going to fill our airlock with Star Sand to the maximum fill line. Now this wine I won't actually be stirring on a daily basis. I'll just swirl the bottle. It's no real reason to stir it. There's no fruit that has to break up. These flowers are going to dissolve on their own, or they're going to wilt, and then they're going to excrete as on their own. There's not much that I have to do for this one. I'll just keep an eye on it. It would be nice if this is ready to drink by Mother's Day. It's possible. I mean, that's very, very early, but if it's clear, I think it might be okay to drink it by then. If not, I can wait till summer. I'm going to spray this. All right, that's it for our rose petal wine. Again, our ingredients are actual rose petals, multicolored rose petals, vanilla, lemon zest, green tea, and our usual players. And 3.5 cups of sugar, a lot of sugar. I can't wait to see how this turns out. I want to thank you again for joining me at Handcrafted Wines. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell, tell your friends, make your own wine. Go down into the descriptions and see if there's anything that you'd like to have, because remember, if you purchase anything in my description, I do get a itty bitty bit of a commission, but I do appreciate everything. So thank you guys and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.